In this video, we are going to go over how to use the order of operations. So by the end of this, we should be able to simplify expressions by correctly using the order of operations. For example, we'll be able to simplify 36 divided by 2 over 5 minus 2. So what is the order of operations? Well, we have this little acronym here that we've probably heard before, PEMDAS. And I separated it a little bit so that we could write some notes under them. All right. The P stands for parentheses, but it really means any type of grouping. So that could be parentheses, it could be brackets. We also see groupings in fractions. So when you see kind of like this example up here, 36 divided by 2 over 5 minus 2, that's another example of two separate groups. All right, the E then represents exponents. So things like 2 to the 7th power, or negative 3 to the 4th power, or maybe 1/2, negative 1/2 to the 2nd. Right, those would be examples of where we see exponents. M and D, I put those together because we're going to do them at the same time, left to right. So multiplication and division have kind of the same powers when we're talking about with numbers. So when we multiply and divide, we're going to do those at the same time, left to right. And just to remind ourselves where the different signs we see, so multiplication can have a dot, division could look like the divided sign, or it could be a fraction, like 5 over 3. We also see multiplication with parentheses, so that would be 5 times 3. Okay, and then lastly, A and S are also written together because we're going to do those at the same time, left to right. And those stand for addition and multiplication, or addition and subtraction. All right, and that can be 5 plus 3 is an example of that. We could also have some negatives thrown in there, so this is 7 minus negative 4 would be in that addition and subtraction. All right, let's go look at some examples. Okay, let's take a look at this first example here, 12 minus 3 times 3. So if I'm thinking about PEMDAS, I'm even going to write it on the side over here, keeping M and D together and A and S together, because remember, we do those at the same time. So I do see parentheses here, but in this case, there's only a single number in the parentheses. I don't have to evaluate anything inside the parentheses. So we actually do not have to worry about the parentheses here. All right, exponents, I also do not see any exponents, so that is taken care of. Multiplication and division, left to right. So we're going to have 12 minus 3 times 3, so that's going to be our multiplication right there. 12 minus 9. There's no other multiplication and division after I've done that. So I'm going to add and subtract, and we get that 12 minus 9 is 3. So when we fully simplify this, we get our single value, 3. Okay, let's take a look at example number 2. In example 2, again, I'm just going to write PEMDAS over to the side here. All right, I see no parentheses or other type of groupings. I do see an exponent, that 2 to the 2nd power. So I'm going to start by evaluating that. So 2 squared is 4. then minus 5 times 1. All right, and that takes care of all of our exponents. Now we're going to go multiplication and division left to right. So 3 times 4 and 5 times 1, we can actually do it at the same time. So 12 minus 5. And lastly, we have addition and subtraction. 12 minus 5 is 7. Let's get 2 more examples in here. Okay, third example is going to be 53 minus 3 squared all over the quantity 6 minus 4 to the second power. All right, here we have a little bit more we have to differentiate. So PEMDAS again. All right, I do see parentheses, and I see that there is an operation inside of those parentheses. I have to complete 6 minus 4 before doing anything else. So 53 minus 3 squared all over 2 squared. Okay. All right, and like I said, fractions are a type of grouping, so we have 2 separate groups here. I could put parentheses around the numerator and the denominator just to make sure that I know that those are 2 separate things that we have to evaluate before we kind of do the division there. I'm going to erase the parentheses just because I think it makes it a little bit messy, but let's start with just the numerator. So 53 minus 9 all over 2 squared. And then 53 minus 9 is 44. And we still haven't done anything with the denominator. And then now that we've evaluated the numerator, that group, we can go to the bottom and evaluate that group. So 44 divided by, and we're going to actually do 2 squared, which is 4. And now we can do that division, 44 divided by 4, which is 11. All right, and we are actually going to finish up with just that one example, so good luck practicing.